Problem. I ain't had shit to show, being modest. Now it's grand for the wax for my conscience. Brian James in LA, you're on college. I've been jumping on them planes like a hobby. Still moving with the pack like my partners. Shut the John on them jets, get you wildin'. But the bowl is a party on the island. Moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and flocking. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't young for the pain when my pots flip. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof on my first whip. Took the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen the change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs in the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve them at the minute, just the front, nigga. Goddamn. Had to grow up quick, I made my own rules. Had my first child, got it jumping with music. Can't really hang with nobody who losing. I thought by now that you would go and get it, but I could hardly see niggas as distant. Know you get cropped if you not in the picture. And I made that tag and went got a bag. Shots to the Henny and OG prescriptions, put rebel shit on the map. Took a leap from where I started at, started ballin' now I'm Chris Paul and Cass. Got him steady calling for the mold, but I'm on a roll, gotta call him back. And that's all fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely, either in an overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas should now be clear. All electronic devices should now be turned off and stowed, as they may interfere with the aircraft's navigational and communication systems. Once airborne, we'll let you know when you may use approved electronic devices, but note that some items may not be used at any time.
Welcome everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Melody Joy, I see you. Carrie Ann, I see you. Appreciate you for joining us in the chat. Man, I'm only giving somebody a couple minutes to be third, or else you're just late. You're just late with no reward for being late. I can't be giving people points for being third when really it's just celebrating you being late. That's we got to be more disciplined about that. But yeah, appreciate y'all. Definitely thankful to everybody for joining in. If you happen to stick with us for a little bit and you don't hate everything you hear and see, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and share far and wide. Share with all your Christian and atheist friends who need something to watch and opine on. Also, put in that exclamation point tip or super chat if you'd like to send us a donation. Quick shout out, tonight we are going to be doing another Gather party. We have a tremendous time every night in Gather, really, but you know, we do like to let people know when something special is going on. Again, we get down and Gather every night, overnight, so if you're not with us on the daily and Gather, you're just missing out. Matter of fact, if you're just showing up to the stream and you think you're getting everything, you're just not. Because not only are you missing all the Gather that happens after every stream, but you're missing all the Gather that happens before the stream. I've been in live and Gather all day. I had to teach, I had a couple meetings, I had to run around, but you know, we still been in Gather watching news, watching different videos, watching a lot of stuff. So, you know, hey, if you get up and you don't see us on YouTube, and you're looking for the community, you're looking to fellowship, you're looking to chat, you're looking to just hang out and see what everybody's getting into for the day. Just because you don't see us on YouTube doesn't mean we can't be found, right? Of course, you can hit us up in Discord, but really, come through Gather. You will be pleasantly surprised that there are, you know, a bunch of us hanging out there throughout the day. That's actually how Carrie Ann and Melody are up here so quickly a lot of times, because, you know, Melody Ann spends a lot of time. Melody, listen to me, I'll just mix the Melody Ann. That's who they are. They're a team. Melody Ann. Melody Ann spends a lot of time with us in Gather. But yeah, for real, folks, we're gonna watch Game 4 of the World Series tonight. We had another little Cheers mini marathon last night. That was a lot of fun. Y'all know Cheers is kind of the vibe of our speakeasy and gather. So the first show that we're kind of trying to watch, you know, as a crew is a crew show called Cheers. Sometimes you want to go, everybody knows your name. So come join it, because that's going to be the first show we watch together. And if you happen to be there after the game to watch Cheers with us, you'll know exactly what the vibe in the community is. Appreciate all y'all. Just wanted to mention that. Want to send another shout out to Uncle Bobby. Just want to say thanks for the shout outs after your Apologia video. I noticed that, you know, we've got some more subs. So Uncle Bobby's getting new subs, about hundreds apparently. And, you know, just even a shout out, letting people know about us over here at Pocket Locker 86 has helped us, you know, grow our sub count already. I'm sure as more people are exposed to us through the blackout and more stuff with Uncle Bobby, you know, more people will find us. But I appreciate him making that extra effort to let people know we're out here. I return the enthusiastic support, man. If you're not subscribed to Gin and Truth, man, you really need to be. I know we haven't sent as many people to Gin and Truth as Apologia has, but that's just due to the difference in the size of our platforms. It's not due to lack of effort. I know a bunch of you have found Uncle Bobby through my channel, and you know, you enjoy Uncle Bobby on the daily just like I do. So if you're a subscriber here and you're not subscribed to Gin and Truth on YouTube, please do so. Also, check down the links in the description. You can also subscribe to my other channels, Hunter Biden's Laptops, the Casino Theater and Arcade. But even more importantly, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you can find the links to itsairplanemode.com. You can check out OG Roddy, and you also have links to the channels of my mods and co-hosts. So that's Tux TV, James Apperson, Nidamos, Gin and Truth on YouTube, my one black friend. Yeah, so check down in the links in the description, y'all. I try to make sure the description every day has all of the ways to link up with the community. The link for the Discord is also in there. And like I said, the links and commands for the donations are down there as well. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all of that stuff. So appreciate everybody. Let's go ahead and get into this communion. And, you know, it's such a week of heavy shit and a lot going on. It does feel like, you know, some of this progress with Uncle Bobby and them small victories is kind of stuff we kind of need to put a little positive on the week. Uncle Bobby might swing through. He's a baseball fan, and he comes through to gather, so he might swing through and catch up with us a little later. But let's send him another cheers. Cheers to Uncle Bobby. Cheers to the community. Cheers to everybody. Cheers to Apologia. Glad everybody's here. Let's go ahead and get into this communion. Let me go ahead. Yeah, Carrie Ann's on top of it. Got the commands in here. Let me drop a couple in there. I'm gonna drop the cheers in there. I'm gonna drop the communion in there myself. Boom. Yeah, everybody go ahead, drop your commands in there. Let us know you're rocking with us. Please raise your glasses or your cups and hold on to your asses. Through him, with him, in him, in the unity of the flying man. All glory and honor is yours who fly for our sins forever and ever. You may drink. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, you gotta have them church bells ringing. You got the church bells ringing. You ain't really that official. All right, now we need our communion song. Let's go ahead. Let's see what we can find. I love that Cheers theme cover. Oh, there's another one. All right, let's see. We're gonna check out a couple other ones. All right, let's see what's up with this. Let's see how this goes. Don't disappoint us. will be very disappointed if you mess up our song here, brother. You're being given a live audition. This better be good.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away?
We're a little washed out here with that camera, but it's good.
Where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Those are great microphones. Look like Neumann U87s or something.
Where you can see
or modern phones. Everybody's made their own version by now.
You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
This is a song that really does translate really well from piano to guitar.
When you've got no lights, the check is in the mail, and your little angel hung a cat by its tail. Your third fiancé didn't show. Be glad there's one place you can go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see your troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
What's up, UC Love?
You get out of bed and the coffee's dead. The morning isn't looking bright.
Oh, the Convoy Commission? What's up? UC Love, what's up with the Convoy Commission? What's up, nerdy?
Even right. Your girlfriend says she's not a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see your troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. You wanna be where you can see your troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your
Who's here? I see Nerdy. I see Carrie-Ann. I see UC Love. I see Melody. Somebody said something about Cameron Bennett. He must have been like 5th or 6th or something. He was probably so late I just didn't even notice his name. He might be. I mean, he might be here, but I mean, if he ain't even gonna bother to be 4th, I mean, can I really be expected to notice his name on the chat? I mean, come on, really. Come on, Cameron, you, if I'm 5th to you, you 5th to me, bruh. What's up? What's up with you, man? He said I was 3rd. See what happened? He was 3rd. See, you know what happened, Cameron? You was 3rd the one day everybody was so late. I said I'm not even giving out no pocket change for 3rd. I said how am I keep giving out pocket change as a reward for 3rd if 3rd really just means you're late? It'd be like me giving my students extra credit for being late. Like, of course, I want to give some bonus points for the first 3 that are early. But I don't want to be giving out bonus points for motherfuckers to show up late. They'd be like, hey, if it ain't other 2 people, you could show up an hour later, as long as you're 3rd. If you show up an hour later, if 2 other people haven't been, hey, you could get your, no. Y'all got to get them notifications. If you don't get the notifications, you got to take that up with YouTube. And it's called the race condition. You see them noties, you got to race. The clock time is not on your side. Especially like today, because to be honest with you, I've been kind of all over the place today, so I'm really depending on the community to carry me through this stream because I might get this whole thing derailed. I'm a little tired, y'all. I'm a little tired, a little loopy, a little tired. See, I already forgot. What are we doing? I made a program. Where's the program I made? See, where's the? I made a whole program for us. See, this is what I'm talking about. I literally made a whole program for us and it's gone. Are you serious? Where's all of the shows that I pulled up that we were gonna watch? That's hilarious. Oh, here we go. See, I told y'all I'm loopy. I told you. All right, let's jump into some content and then I gotta work on this Avita Ed video. For some odd reason, y'all, my mixer is screaming. Like everything is coming off this mixer hot as hell, which means I gotta fuck around and calibrate my system again, which, if you can't tell by the tone of my voice, I'm not excited about. Yeah, that little 0.1 bump ain't doing nothing to nobody. Oh my goodness, check. Oh, y'all got me hot from Gather too. Y'all be complaining in Gather that my mic is hot. And y'all be having me turn my shit way up. All right, here we go. Boom, there we go. I'm talking to my mic like a professional. All right, so look, here we go. Let's watch this shit. We're gonna talk about some crazy shit because, y'all, I gotta turn your attention to the midterm. If you're not thinking about these midterms, we're not on the fucking same page. We're not having the same goddamn conversation. Get your ass out and vote. It's crazy shit going. These motherfuckers are taking all of our freedoms, and you know what? I'm kidding. They've only taken some of them, but they literally will take all of them. They're trying to watch them. Like, y'all, we got to talk about these midterms. I know y'all don't want to get political with the blase and the Glavinoids, but I don't really give a shit. Y'all supposed to be some skeptics and some non-believers. Well, your ass needs to be skeptic of your goddamn apathy. You need to be questioning your apathetic attitude because your apathetic ass is part of the problem, not a part of the solution. I get that you don't like politics, but welcome to grown-up-hood. Nobody likes fucking politics. The people who say they like politics are fucking lying to you. They mean either they've taken a strong interest in politics, or they find themselves involved in politics, or politics is part of their motherfucking job. You could take it as like in air quotes. They're recognizing that it's a big part of their life. They don't want to get caught up in the fucking bullshit, so they just, as a time short, they say, yeah, I really like politics. Nobody really likes politics. Okay? It's a motherfucking necessary evil. And if you don't want the world around us to get even more evil, your ass needs to vote. And if you want to be serious, you need to vote Democrat. Look, I didn't say I like the Democrats. I didn't say the Democrats were perfect. I didn't say identify as a Democrat, go blue, rah, rah. I didn't say none of that shit. I said if you don't want the world around you to get more evil today, right now, in November of 2022, your ass needs to vote Democrat. Are you anti-fascism? Great, me too. Vote Democrat. Do you see where this is going? All roads lead to what? Vote Democrat. Look. I get it. They not liberal enough. They don't deliver. We're not dealing with all of that right now. Those are all very important conversations to have when the motherfucking democracy is not burning in front of our eyes. When the motherfucking Capitol is burning and all of that shit, with the insurrection and all of the shit that we got going on, with this motherfucking pandemic that these motherfucking theatards are trying to turn into a biologically weaponized cult of Jesus America. You guys just gotta vote fucking Democrat. I'm sorry, y'all.
Started to get sold to the companies, and
friends don't let friends vote Republican. Amen to that.
So there's like 3 different kinds of laws out there, and I don't understand it completely.
So were we Christian while we had slavery here?
Well, being Christian is personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
No, I meant as a nation, because we were talking about being a Christian nation. That's what you had said before.
Well, yeah, we were, but many of us were deceived.
When was
many
this?
of us were not accountable due to churches not teaching the truth about different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to keep in mind too. We didn't invent slavery; we ended it.
I want to show you guys something though too.
You know, we need to keep.
Churches not teaching the
Notice this sticker. Notice this hat. This motherfucker's voting.
truth.
He's a
about
voter.
different things.
I see.
You know, we need to keep in mind too. We didn't invent slavery; we ended it.
This fuckface is voting.
It was a really hard thing to do. I mean, we fought a civil war over it. England ended slavery just before that, but slavery existed everywhere throughout all of humanity.
We ended slavery.
My ancestors.
I mean,
were Irish.
England
They were enslaved by
ended
the
it
British
just
to the
before
tune of
that.
1.25 million.
Jesus.
People need God. That's what it comes down to. And I know that for me, I had, you know, I was a kind of a product of my own culture in that I was, you know, running away with eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. I didn't have a moral compass. I knew what right and wrong was.
God,
but
it's
sounds
so
fun, but
immoral
it was a lot of
to
fun.
be-
Sin's great. by the way.
Yeah.
Sin's
Oh
great.
yeah. Eating
But
and drinking and
it's
being
not great for very
happy.
long.
It's
You know,
just
there's a
fucking
big
terrible.
difference
Yeah,
between
definitely not
having
sustainable.
A good time and living a good life. And living a good life is kind of hard because it means you have to make sacrifices and you have to say no to sin. And
Oh
and
my
Christ
God!
makes that
Can
easier.
we
It
just
makes
tell
it
these
easier
people that
propositions to
they're
change
not
their
very
heart.
smart,
And that's what he did for me.
and
He
that
stopped. He
when
kept me
intelligent
from,
people listen to them,
desiring
it
the
hurts
things
our
that were
brains?
destroying me. So that's
I mean,
the change in
I
heart.
think it's a fair,
So when
honest
people get
point.
offended when they see
I'm not
American
trying to be
flag and say,
mean.
"Oh, well, that's a
I'm just
symbol
trying to
of
say
hate or a symbol
he's
of
grown.
racism or
He
something
looks
like that."
well. He got to
It really
be 30
distorted
plus,
what it
right? He
means.
not. He, come on, let's
the
be honest.
idea
He's
of
over
America
40.
is still being
Okay,
strongly in the heart of
and
every
his
American.
ass is ready
It's
to
about
hear the
freedom and
news
liberty and
that
personal
he's
autonomy,
really not
personal
that smart,
sovereignty, being
and
able-
that he
being
sounds like
master
a
of your own
fucking
destiny,
idiot.
being able to build your own business, being able to take care of your family. I mean, things that are
Yes, yes, I get that you can use words,
and treasured,
but they don't
And,
make
You feel that
sense.
those are under attack in some way?
Absolutely, they are. I mean,
In what ways?
well, I mean,
What's up,
look at-
Lena?
look at
What's
all
up,
the social media, look at
Carrier? How y'all
you know,
doing? What's
people
up,
being banned.
Iris?
I mean, I think censorship is by far one of the most dangerous things. And Jordan Peterson talks about this quite a bit. You know, once you
Jordan
censor,
Peterson. Then you start
person's
quoting
ability
Jordan
to say
Peterson.
something,
More
you're
confirmation.
essentially,
Dude is really not that
hamstringing their ability
bright.
to think properly. Because if you can't express your views, you don't. Sometimes.
Yes, I
like, even in
definitely
this
want to
interview,
take
sometimes I'm kinda, like, almost discovering what
advice
my
about how to
views are
express my
by
views
verbalizing.
from the Jordan
Do you
Peterson
feel
Brigade.
as if freedom is under attack, and if so, how?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, freedom is written
Now this fuckface clearly doesn't even know how to wear his goddamn sunglasses.
in our Constitution. Those are our freedoms. Those are our God-given rights, right? And if we don't have them, then no, we're not free. If we can't speak our minds and
If we can't say hateful shit,
let people know how it is that we feel and what we're experiencing, then what do we have? We don't have a voice. We
I
don't
think
have,
I started to think that I think a lot of these people are pushing their nuttery deliberately because they realize that they can't. There's no comeback for them on the truth. And now I think that they're motivated to, I don't know, push us to the point where we have to censor and take liberties and rights. Like, they're going to force us to treat them like children, then manipulate the system to stay in power, and then use that new system of leverage to then, force their way upon us. It's just their game at this point. I realize that that's what they're doing. It's like they're daring us, right? Because they're constantly just weaponizing language, right? To get us to the point where we're just gonna have to say, all right, there's been too much free speech. We just can't. We literally can't survive this much misinformation, disinformation, and bullshit. So now we've got to put some fucking barriers on this shit. Literally to fucking save humanity, and then they get to gerrymander the systems, strip away our voting rights and our liberties, force a majority in the Supreme Court. Y'all already know where this is going. Blase and the Glavinoids, they take power, and then they go, well, we all know we've got to restrict liberties to protect life, right? Right? We all know we can't let that. And now your speech is interfering with my family values, and it needs to be restricted to protect our right to practice our religion. You know, and everything with these people ends badly. Because everything you try to employ to bring about progress, as soon as they recognize what you do, they're going to use it in a backwards, fucked up ass projectionist, I'm going to lie to your face apologist sort of way, stuck on stupid, right? So that's their thing. That's what obstructionists do, right? Obstructionists there is no end game for them. They've already lost and they know it. So now their end game is there can be no end game. Right? That's it, right? Because they can't ever let you get to the ground where they can actually have to be held accountable to acknowledging their defeat, right? So everywhere you go is the new thing that they're going to weaponize against you. If you wake up tomorrow and say, hey, y'all, we're just pro-oxygen. We just, literally, that's what the pandemic is. So let me give you something that's not real. Because literally, y'all already know that's true, because the fight over the pandemic is like, sorry, some of us genuinely like breathing freely, right? And they're like, oh, people want to breathe freely now, huh? Let's take that. Yeah, let's take that against them, right? So let me think of something that we could just decide randomly. Like, let's just wake up tomorrow and decide that, I don't know. God, I can't think of anything they haven't already weaponized. I'm like, let's decide we like water. Oh, they've already fucked up water. Let's decide we like, reasonable cars. They already did that. Let's just decide we all want to like raise the minimum wage. Oh yeah, they're totally against. They're definitely the reason we can't raise the minimum wage. What about some student loan debt relief? Oh yeah, they literally are currently blocking the student loan debt relief. Okay, what about COVID relief? Yeah, they burnt that shit to the ground. Y'all, I can't even think of a hypothetical that they would weaponize against us, because they've already weaponized all my hypotheticals. They've stumped the scientist. The one challenge that will stump any scientist is name something the right wing in America has not ruined, and scientists are like, fuck it. What do I look like? I got a fucking PhD in every goddamn thing? Holy shit. What hasn't the right wing done? Call nature. I don't know. I'm experiencing a fucking crisis right now. Holy shit. Science is over. That's definitely the one thing. Holy. Yeah. They've already fucked everything. What's up, Lena? Lena, tell them they're fascist.
Well, I was having a conversation with the fascist. It's the follow-up. It's the same guy I had lunch with a few weeks back, and I sent him a video from what's his name? Shark Zero, something like that. I got it right here. Shark 300. You know him?
Nope. It's a big.
He's a leftist. Talks about like Vosh and Destiny and the sort of stuff that they talk about. And I sent him that video because he was talking about conservatives and how, conservatives use common sense. They push that talking point. They're just kind of, don't think about things. Go with your gut instinct. And so I sent him that video, and it talked about a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just reading the response that he sent.
That's a great one, right? Smart. We could just agree that smart is good? No. They're like, no, dumb is good. Oh, no, if you don't make it plain, right? If you don't make it sound simple, right? That's that whole crowd,
it's just weird because he texted back, right? And he's like, oh, the person is just talking in false stereotypes of what he thinks and assumes. of people he obviously doesn't agree with. Much of how he described people is very similar to how racist people describe people of color. They just assume but never really take the time to have a conversation. Almost nothing of how this person was describing people is at all correlated or consistent with what I know. He's just ranting and raving with 80 to 90% just raw emotion and projection. And it's so weird because, like, that's exactly what that video was about in conservative circles, and pointing to, like, real, tangible examples and evidence. And his response just felt like a parody response of what you would make if you wanted to be like, oh yeah, I watched the video and I got the message. Let me do exactly that thing that video said not to do.
Well, that was
just is bizarre. I don't know how to respond when they're just projecting and calling you the one projecting.
Absolutely.
And it's just this stupid narcissistic battle of constant. No, you did. Or like, it's just playground childishness.
Oh, I hear James. I know you are, but what am I? Boom! I beat you, James. I beat you.
Yeah.
All right, you're loud as shit. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, hold on. Let me turn my gain down.
Yeah, you sound like you're in a submarine or something.
I am in a submarine. That's right.
No. James, you gotta start. You gotta start making not being on camera work for you. I'm broadcasting live from a remote village in Guadalupe. Just start making a fucking exotic destination.
Right. Exactly right.
I'd show you my place, but the mansion is just so amazing. You know, you'd hate me out of jealousy. I just, that's what it is.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
James, my girlfriend's so hot, I keep her in my bedroom,
I know, that's where I always find
her. Yeah, she's too hot for YouTube,
Mm-hmm. She is.
But yeah, what's up with this, man? I was thinking about you, actually. I forget what you were saying this about. But it was something else, but it felt James Apperson, because I was just very like, holy shit, this is what they're doing. Like, they're going to force us to censor them and just, have to make some drastic moves and then, use that against us. That's the threat with that's the deal with packing the court. That's the problem with the vaccine, right? We couldn't do a vaccine mandate because you start federally mandating that type of shit when the Republicans get in power. It's a wrap. Right.
Damned if we do and damned if we don't. But that's always how it is in abusive relationships. You're always damned if you do and damned if you don't. That's a thing. So, am I still too loud? Am I doing okay?
A little bit, but it's better.
I'll turn it back down a little bit more.
Yeah, that's probably in line with everybody else. Also, there's like a wind. Is that a fan or something? Or it might just be, if you look at your, you might have like a use original audio on. Try toggling that option in the audio video settings. Sometimes it'll give you the noise suppression or whatever.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. Otherwise, we'll just do push to talk.
So do I want to on or off the use original audio?
What is it right now? Right now it's probably on. Yeah, turn it off.
Okay.
Yep, that cleaned it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot better. It always depends on the person's setup. But yeah, go ahead.
I had some thoughts about it. So I think, for example, that news teams like Fox.
Also, hang on, James. Give yourself a bump up a little bit now because it turned down your gain a little bit.
All right. So how's that?
That's pretty good. I want you to have the sound people are used to. They're used to that strong James Apperson signal.
All right, cool. So my thought about it is, with these different organizations that just spread all this propaganda, just require that they have a special license, an entertainment license, and not a news license. If they lie too much, if they exceed their lying quota, then they can only broadcast with an entertainer's license. Then anybody that has to have an entertainer's license to broadcast has to have a disclaimer at the beginning of every broadcast saying, we make shit up randomly, so we're operating under an entertainment license.
I'd almost like that, or almost a situation in reverse, because I'd almost like no entertainers threshold, right? Because me and you want to be entertainers for free. And then if you want to be news, you've got to actually meet a certain bar, and then that can be taken from you. Now, that's pretty much where we're at with Fox News, but we're kind of advocating for some sort of better business bureau of news rather than I've got to sue you to get you to admit that on record.
Right. It's a mess, and it's a bigger problem with the politicians, right? Because they can just say whatever they want to, zero consequence. They can just make up whatever they want to make up, and they're still allowed to hold office, still allowed to run for office. That needs to change. They shouldn't be allowed to, period. Like, if you exceed like one lie per day or something, then you have to have a correction the next day. And if you don't offer a correction, you just can't be a politician anymore. You like lose your politician license or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, we have more standards in place for who you can, look at your piping than we do.
Sure. It's a really big deal when politicians lie, because you can't have a legitimate democracy if people had been misinformed about what they're voting on.
Yeah, and that's why we can't right now. And I don't think we ever will, because we need those people to put these restraints on themselves, and they won't do it, especially not the obstructionist party. And the other party lies just as much, so.
Truth.
Now,
we need to start seeing it bipartisan.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But go on.
No, you can go ahead, Lena.
Well, I don't know how much this applies to politicians, but what you were saying about the media, the issue I see is capitalism and mainly privatization. I think that's a big part of the reason why the industry is so subject to the whims of the dollar and our attention and our craving for entertainment over facts. I think all of these play into having a worse media in general. And if we want to have a better media, we need to go back to giving more funding to national sources. That's why
I'm almost going super
historically
local.
And typically, like things like the BBC are more credible and reliable than any of these private organizations.
I agree, but I'm also thinking more local. Like, I think the key is we need to de-radicalize our friends, neighbors, and loved ones. Because I don't... The system isn't incentivized to do it. It isn't going to do it anytime soon. And it really isn't their responsibility, right? Like...
And they're not trying to do that either. They're the ones who are far more likely to fall into their echo chambers and not engage with the other side, cut off family members, and just generally not reach across the aisle when that's all we're trying to do.
Sure, but I just think it has to go back to that, honestly. And sometimes things have to get ugly before they can get better. I'm in this weird dance with the dispensary around here because, of course, I take COVID precautions seriously, and I live in the middle of Michigan, and it's one of the things I hate most about this place is that, for lack of a better expression, compared to the East Coast, Michiganders take pride in their stupidity. I'm just put it that way. Mm-hmm. And it's the hey, we're all gonna not pay attention to this together. We're all in the right type of attitude to where you stick out like a sore thumb just because you want to not die. So, like, when I started to have to go back to a dispensary because I'm like I don't want to. Honestly, because the person my dealer was a fucking right-wing nut job who was overcharging me. So I'm like, fuck this. I might as well just go to the dispensary and deal with it. Early on, I started just asking them to serve me outside because they do curbside and they do in-store. And, so I would stand by the curb and call, hey, I'm here to pick up my order. No big deal. But then after a while, they're like, oh, we can't see you when you come to the curb. So you should go stand in a parking spot. so that we can see you with the security camera and know that you're actually here in a parking spot, and you can tell us what parking spot you're in. Okay, cool, no problem. So then I start doing that. That happens a couple times, and then they're going, well, we don't really we can't really have you doing curbside pickup because you're not in a vehicle, and now it's like a safety liability hazard. Because I'm like, it's funny because I've literally been in parking lots my whole life. I've never ever been hit by a car in a parking lot. There's all sorts of barriers and security measures. There's literally big ass cones in every single parking lot. You'd have to drive through a pillar to hit somebody in one of these parking spots. It's not even open, right? It's not even flat. You literally have to drive through something to hit someone. And I'm like, and this is what you told me to do, right? And I'm not doing this because I'm trying to hold up your business. I'm doing this because I have elevated risk factors of COVID. I don't want to die. So isn't this like the most just easiest thing to do? Like, it's just, and so we did this whole song and dance. And so I called the manager. I'm talking to the manager about it one time, and he literally goes to me, well, just bring a vehicle. I don't care what it is. Bring a skateboard, whatever, right? So as I told you, I brought my fake board, right? So I bring a skateboard with me, right? And then they go on this whole thing about how all of a sudden now we can't accept the skateboard as a vehicle. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? This is exactly what your manager told me. Again, you're making it this hard for me to say, I just don't want to go stand in a crowd full of unmasked people in the middle of a pandemic when there's a asymptomatically spread virus. Duh. Right? And so...
And I'm guessing this is in a non-walkable area where it's pretty much everyone's picking up from vehicle.
What do you mean unwalkable?
Like, are other people running in, like... Do they have a lot of people walking in to pick up?
Yeah, at times it's really busy indoors, but for the most part, I like pick up at like off hours, and there's like a separate area, so you're in like away. You're like you're like off to the, you're like in the back, you're like off around the back where the curbside is or whatever. So it's sort of isolated from the in and out of the regular traffic. So it's just a safer area. It's quieter. But yeah, so there's no like, I don't know. It was just really weird. So anyway, this is what the manager tells me to do. So then they tell me that they can't. So then today he gives me like a free eighth because he felt bad about the whole thing. And then he tells me, I told all the managers, and so when you come in from now on, just come in when it's not super busy. We'll serve you outside. I'm like, cool, great. All right. So then I'm like, really appreciate that. That sounds awesome. So I go to pick up today. I had an ID issue. I go back to get my ID. I come back. He goes, all right, so I talked to the head office, and they're not going to let us do this, but we are going to set up like a designated area for people who want to do like basically contact-free outdoor deliveries. Like, yeah, it's like trying to solve the bigger picture, right? And then they also said they're going to start doing deliveries, right? Because I was like, I only started doing this because the person who used to deliver didn't stop delivering to me, and you guys don't deliver, right? Other dispensaries in the area can deliver. They have the legal right to deliver. They just don't, right? So what's my point in saying all this? Well, yeah, one, it was a pain in the ass, and two, sometimes you just have to like speak up for the fact that you're not satisfied with the way something is happening. And sometimes, even though it can be a bit of a process, you speaking up can be the catalyst for, in this case, a whole chain of dispensaries that's doing a ton of business, changing how they do business. Because somebody actually pointed out to them, you guys have a bigger problem that you might want to think about. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only person who feels this way, right? And so... Can
I make the third point real quick?
Go ahead.
Can I interject with that?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're fine. That's the story.
The third point is that all of it's a symptom of not having solid top-down regulations and plans in place for pandemics. This is all a symptom of poor pandemic planning on our leadership's part.
Yeah.
AKA Trump.
Yeah. And something that I'm going to tag James in on, which is this manufactured consent, which is let's just force everybody to ignore it when most of us don't wake up in the morning going, oh, yeah, I'm just going to ignore the deadliest disease to strike humanity in 100 years.
Right. Yeah. Manufactured consent is a huge issue. So, and we also in this country have manufactured insanity. There's an awful lot of people, but if you hadn't fed them all that insanity, they wouldn't be thinking all that insanity right now. They just, their vulnerability to bad information, to propaganda, has been exploited to an extreme. Like more than I think has ever been done in this country. Like just the level of extreme propaganda. And these people don't have a critical filter. They just don't. They're just fear-driven and tribal-driven and hate-driven and, and they just respond to propaganda in that way. They're like, oh, really? Those are my enemies? Oh, really? This is the reality of the situation that you're telling me? And they just believe it. They're like, wow, good thing you told me about this crazy, this totally like legitimate things that people are doing with vaccines. Yes, they're totally inserting microchips and tagging me, and lizard people are controlling the government, and Pizzagate is, there's a big major pizza chain sponsored by Democrats that are just pedophile rings, and they have all this crazy shit in their head because somebody they consider to be reputable said the thing. Wow, this reputable source said the thing. It must be true, right? And then they get all angry and want to like take a hammer and start beating up Democrats with the hammer. Like, that's just what happens. And then the other side of the media complains about it, like, we got to do something about this. But I noticed they don't have any ideas about what to do about it. They're just saying we should do something about it, but they're not willing to do anything about it. They just want to talk about it.
Where are you at with these midterms?
I'm done with college.
With college? Oh. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Sorry, you threw me because I realized I just actually did have the grade midterms yesterday. That's exactly what I was doing yesterday.
I knew that. I knew that.
That's literally what I was doing. I was like, oh my God. Don't do this to me. Oh my God.
Did you finish grading all your papers, by the way?
I did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, now I just got to send them back to them. But yeah, they did pretty well.
Yeah.
Their midterm was basically about genetic drift. So not the easiest thing to wrap your head around, but it's they were ready, so they did okay. Most of the stuff they missed, honestly, was where they didn't pay attention to directions, and I kind of just have to take points off of that stuff to make sure that they'll pay more attention going forward. Yeah. But yeah, like me, like I see myself as somewhere between like understanding people's general apathy and somewhat of a hired gun. So, came up sort of, like I said, indifferent to these things. Me and my dad we work for who pays us, right? And, we know we've worked with plenty of people on both sides, and there are plenty of people we'd be happy to work with on both sides. Our personal family lawyer is actually a big Trump guy, right? But, we've known him way, way, way before his Trump days, right? We'll know him way after Trump's gone, right? He's like family to us. He's actually bipolar, right? He was a person who told my dad, Jason will be okay. It'll take a long time for everything to get regulated, but once he gets it right, he'll go on and do everything he thought he would be. Like it's a struggle for me because I get people not caring, and I get people feeling like both sides are in on it, and we don't have an ally. We don't have allies in Washington anyway, or maybe even in local government. But I just think it hurts me to think about the Republican MAGA mess getting worse and not having voted against them to whatever extent possible.
Right. I mean, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. Same kind of thing all over again. It's...
Right, we continue to enable the Democrats who won't do anything or deal with worse. Sorry.
The Democrats are responsible for continuing to shift our political spectrum to the right a few inches every election. Because of the way they try to gimmick the system. And so, for example, they always make sure to sponsor the most extreme right-wing candidates there are available on that are competing,
right?
Because they want to go up against
Say more about that, because I don't think people recognize what we say when we're saying the Democrats are funding the Trumpletons. I think they think we're being hyperbolic or something.
No,
Break it down for them.
True. They literally fund them, and the reason they do that is because they want the most extreme candidate possible to go up against, because they want to look sane by comparison. And the problem is that sometimes the most extreme nutter that they sponsor actually gets into office and the morale screwed.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's just if the Democrats basically are putting a Chuck Schumer, I'm just going to use big national personalities, not that these people are in the same thing, but if the Democrats want to put, boring ass Chuck Schumer, knows his shit, but, couldn't talk, just uncharismatic as graham crackers,
Yeah.
up against a Republican, and they can choose between a Liz Cheney or a Marjorie Taylor Greene, they literally, rather than just stay out of it, right? They could just stay the fuck out of it and then take down whoever comes out of the Republican thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they could fund Liz Cheney and say, hey, shit, well, at least if we lose to her, America's in a better place than in the hands of the Trumpletons. No, y'all, what we're saying is please look into it, read the articles, follow the documents and the funding. You will find that the Democrats are funding the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world. Today's Democratic Party is funding the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world actively. Oftentimes, y'all, here's the kicker. Oftentimes to the level of putting that person over the more traditional conservative Republican. In other words, their money is often the money that makes the difference, right? And that's what they will tell you. That's what Liz Cheney will tell you. We've got Peter Meyer. If any of you in the Midwest know the Meyer grocery stores, right? You see the Meyer cars sometimes on NASCAR. The Meyer's got a lot of money. Well, they're traditional Republicans. The Democrats outspent the Meyers to make sure a Trumpleton got a local office instead of a Meyer, right? So they are literally outspending named big money, traditionally well-funded Republicans, right? So they're going way, way, way out of their way to do this, y'all. Damn near wondering, are y'all even putting this much money into your own goddamn candidates?
Right.
And it's a perfect example of the gear and ratchet effect.
Go ahead.
Tell us about that, Lena.
Yeah.
How the two parties play off each other to basically move consistently towards the right and towards regressive policies through blockading and strongmanning when the Democrats are in power. So that's the ratchet, stopping the gear from rotating. And all of the efforts of the Democrats are to stop the crazy Republicans who are trying to take our rights, and that's why we see all of this talk about pro-choice and all of the advertisements that people have been probably getting a lot of. I have, at least. I don't know about anyone else, but and then when it's on the other side, when the Republicans are in power, then the gear moves freely because the Democrats don't actually offer any opposition. They're actually funding them. So it's
they
it's
say
one
hands
facet
off. We can't do anything, guys. We can't.
Yeah, and it's the difference in the way that you see them vote. It's the difference in the way that you see them gerrymander and block bills. It's just there's a lot of different effects that add up to what I'm talking about, but this is a clear and obvious example, I think.
And then it becomes a situation
I don't know,
where...
what do you think, James?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, James.
I mean, I agree 100%. And the thing is, though, I don't think a lot of it's, the consequences they're not worried about. Here's the thing. It's Biden is further conservative than he wants to openly admit.
Absolutely.
And so are a lot of the people in his whole camp. It's the majority of them are, but they can't identify as
Hang on a sec, James. See their religious beliefs. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. So every time their plan backfires, and one of these extremists end up in office, it creates a good effect for them anyways. Because one, now that when they come up for elections later, there's still a more sane candidate, and two, it shifts to the right what people perceive as liberal versus conservative, and so every time it shifts a little bit more, it's coming closer to the day when Biden and people like that can come out with overtly conservative political policies and still be considered the left side choice, right? They can come out against abortion someday and still be considered the left side choice. As long as the right side is extreme enough, as long as the whole political system.
Which again, if somebody's sitting there acting like Joe Biden's Catholic ass wouldn't, because I just think he would, right? If he get a chance to hit the home run for the Catholic Church, he's going to every time. I don't know what's wrong with you. Yeah.
He's fine with abortion being banned. He just pretends he's not because it's political theater. He needs to secure his side of the vote. He needs to secure the
other thing vote. I was going to say is it's triangulation is one of the ways they refer to this too. Clinton was a master of this. He's sort of outplaying both sides so that you're literally triangulating whatever the issues are. You know, I'm going to be more conservative than the conservatives, more liberal than the liberals, more centrist than the centrists. How you all of these things at once, right? Words are cheap is how. And so, like, for me, one of the other things it allows them to do is now they can go up with the stuff. Joe Biden can say, I wanted to give a national vaccine mandate. I wanted to give you more COVID relief. I wanted to give you student loan debt relief. They wouldn't let me, knowing your ass had other means to do it all along. But now you got to keep me in power, to your point now, because look how left I am. I just, whoopsie, I just fell short this time. Give me another shot. I'm your guy. And we all know you're not. Right? Because if you were, we'd have had it. And again, this is what I respect about them. Imagine if George Bush was a leftist, right? Even if Trump was a leftist. They the executive that ordered their way out of all of that. If Trump thought the average person was one of his boys, y'all would have had COVID relief. They'd have been like, the Treasury would have been like, literally, Donald, no, we can't afford to give the people more COVID. Like, I'm sending everybody $5,000 a month, because when I do that, they really like me. Donald, we don't even, right? He wouldn't care, right? He'd be like, I'm wiping everybody's student loan debt clean right now, and by executive order. Donald, that's not it. We can't. He's like, I don't give a shit, right? If only, but our side never has the gumption to just do what's right and suffer the consequences later. Just use the strength of your office. So again, the obstructionists will obstruct everything, but you won't even bother to obstruct the obstructionist, and then you won't even use the paths that they've already laid out. They've already laid out the paths of, executive order. If you can't executive order it, right? Like, that's the name of the game. If you got us to temporarily suspend that filibuster, boom, do it. Get these votes on. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you need to pack the courts? You pack them courts. They'll do it every single time. You got a majority, you got a democratically controlled state, redraw the map. What's wrong with you? They already, the map gets gerrymandered, to your point, every single time, more and more to their way. Well, then what did the Democrats do? Well, they don't want to ungerrymander it, because that would look like they're making them redraw the map. Because as soon as they started to ungerrymander it, the right would accuse them of gerrymandering. And so now they go, sorry, we can't ungerrymander the map because it would look like we're gerrymandering. Like, we stupid.
Right, like we're stupid. Well, I mean, in their defense, an awful lot of people are.
Most of us are. I was just going to say that. But, the numbers on the stupid side, to be honest. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, what they're really doing is exposing all the critical flaws in our democratic model. It needs to be reworked. We need to have a much better system in place. And one of the ways that they got people to reinvest in the broken system and got us to not even clamor for a new system is they used the whole thing where Donald Trump tried to steal the election to ramp up people's sense of patriotism in terms of their dedication to the existing system. Look, Donald Trump tried to hijack our perfectly great system. Isn't that awful? And people are like, yeah, that's awful. He tried to hijack our perfectly great system. But the problem is, it wasn't a perfectly great system already. but the talking points on the left side media was that it's a great system. We just can't let the right hijack it. We can't let the right destroy it. But it's a shit system. But because they had everybody nodding their head like, amen, hallelujah, we got a wonderful system. We just can't let anybody destroy it. It makes people reinvested in the shit that we should be asking them to fix.
Even voting
we're not
rights,
asking them.
the gerrymandering was already out of control. The voter suppression was already out of control. COVID hit. All of a sudden, they did shit they should have done all along. Promote early voting, distance voting, make it easy to people to have to drop boxes or whatever, right?
All along.
Again, should have been done this generations ago, right? Some of it, right? Then all of a sudden, the Republicans do what? Fight back against that, and so here come the Democrats with their nonsense. Oh, we're going to try to keep your right. Now they say we're going to fight to protect your voting rights. They don't really mean fight to protect your voting rights in any sort of progressive sense of protecting your voting rights. They mean we'll suggest there should be more drop boxes. We really will say it's okay to vote by mail. You see what I'm saying? And then they'll be like, we are the champions of your voting rights. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because honestly, if you're even the voted champions of that, I should be able to vote right now on my phone. Right now. Right? Why can't I just right now just go to vote.michigan.gov right now? It's 2022. I can order pizza. I got free porn. We could gather and watch the World Series with people from all around the world. I could bet my entire life savings on said World Series and lose it in a nanosecond. I could buy fake ass currency, billions of dollars worth to pay for an NFT, which is apparently art/gold. I don't even know, right? Nobody knows, but we making up all types of shit we could do from right here, but I still can't vote from here.
Right.
I still
They need to
can't
automatically
vote from here.
All citizens need to automatically.
How do I vote?
How do I vote? Seriously. Yeah, my mom can't vote because she just moved from Ohio to New Jersey. And so just the lag time, they're like, yeah, we'll make sure you have your new registration by like November 20s, whatever. It is like 2 weeks after the voting time. Just because if you move. So it's all sorts of that. Again, in 2022 does not make any sense at all. Any sense at all. But
and they know that if they made it to where everybody could vote, right? Like everybody's automatically registered. Everybody gets a day off that day. There's plenty of ballot boxes. There's all kinds of security to make sure nobody can intimidate you at the boxes. You can vote by mail or you can vote online as long as you go through proper authentication. And if they made it to where basically everybody was incentivized to vote and free to vote, they know that the whole system would move to the left. Because most people don't want conservative bullshit. Most people want progress.
To be honest, I was going to say, it's even one of the ways I knew I would innovate as a leader. Like, either if I ever became elected or, was close enough to somebody that was. Because what are you talking about? We're taking, you know how easy it is to take a YouTube poll or a Twitter poll on your account? And you mean to tell me you can't sit down and be like, look, y'all. All right, proposal 54 before us today, right? Suggest, proposal A or proposal B as far as the new youth center, right? Right, look, y'all, we're going to build a YMCA or we're going to build a new high school baseball stadium. Vote now. You have 72 hours, right? Now, that doesn't oblige me as the mayor to go in support of whatever y'all vote for, right? After all, I'm the mayor, and I can say, it's a lot of shit y'all might not be taken into consideration, so I'm with one or the other, right? But it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense to be like, yeah, well, it turns out I actually asked the citizens. Yeah, I just asked them. Yeah, it turns out you could just Twitter poll people and make sure they all vote in the city. Yeah, and 82% said we should build the YMCA. So yeah, guess what? My administration officially behind the YMCA because I was elected to do what the people want, and I just asked them. Then they told me. Y'all seeing how this works? Like, you see what I'm saying? There's no reason for it's 2022. Really? Nigga, real-time government should have been somebody's campaign slogan. What? It's just really, if somebody did this right now, they would be considered a fucking revolutionary. But I could tell you what color fucking toenail polish some 16-year-old girl is wearing on Instagram. Matter of fact, people could talk about Taylor Swift got all 10 of the top 10. First of all, how did Taylor Swift get all 10 of the top 10 though? Damn, that girl is crushing everything. But seriously, I mean, we could figure that out, but we can't do real-time communication about what the people want their elected officials to do and not do. That just seems ridiculous to me.
They know we can. They're not confused about this. They know we can. They don't want to facilitate that because they know it would make us lurch forward in progress. And the more actual progress we have, the less power they have, the less exploitation they can do, the less they can gimmick the game, the better they have to treat people.
Because we're on our way to sending Myron Bot to Congress, right? Myron Bot just goes, takes them polls, says what we told him. Here's an accurate printout of what the people want every time, right? We don't need them, right? That's what you're saying, right? Eventually they're going to realize, holy shit, they're not going to need us if they could just real-time communicate with, do direct democracy, as UC Love put in the chat. If the people just direct pipe into the democracy themselves, it's gonna change everything.
Yeah, they don't want that. They like the grift the way that it's set up because American government is a mafia. Literally is a mafia. So of course they don't want things to change too much, right? Because they're always trying to figure out how they can exploit the game for even more power, more privilege, more money. And if we progress as a society, then they got to be held accountable for their bullshit. And they don't want that.
Absolutely.
And isn't that the main argument? Isn't that the... I see it as fascism, but the reason why we can't have that sort of open voting is because of national security. Right? We got to protect ourselves from all of the other countries that we dominate through our global hegemony. But don't think about that. Worry about the Chinese scare and the Russian scare.
When I look into
even though it was Trump who I mean that's just weird.
It's all of the hallmarks, Lena. I don't even understand. I understand like when you first started saying it, it was just funny because people are they respond to it so strongly. But if you really look into it, I don't understand how it's obvious, right? It's just, you're just calling out something that is obvious. It has all the hallmarks of it. It's, to me, I was thinking about this. I've been in relationships with people like this where there's certain words that they hate. Don't call me a bitch. Don't call me a whatever, right? But they have no problem, and they know it, demonstrating the behavior that leads to people using those type of words, right? So I'm gonna be that, but don't you dare call me that, right? And that's what I feel like with fascism. If you look it up, it's just very obvious. Now, if you don't want us to call you a fascist, I have one very simple solution. Don't be a fascist. But instead, we don't get people who are willing to not be fascist. We get people who are willing to do everything to stop people from, like Lena, from calling them fascist. That's the fucking problem right there. I know Lena having a little bit of a signal.
It is in principle fascistic, right? I mean, just in principle, it's.
I don't even know if it's in principle. It's very literally
because of nationalism.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Oh, we don't serve the people, serve the leaders. Don't empower. Don't empower the lower class. It'll backfire. It's a mess. All right, there's a couple other things I got to touch on, and I got to get out of here so I could do this video. James, are you going live, man?
I hadn't thought about it. I could just pick a random topic to just talk about.
Well, I'm a dip at I'm gonna dip in a little bit because I gotta. I'm gonna start working on this video, so I didn't know if you were gonna go live.
If somebody has a request for me, I'd be happy to. If somebody has a request for a topic, I'd be happy to jump in. If they don't, I don't know. I mean, I can pick any topic and just talk and talk and talk. You know me.
Yeah.
We can do both. Like, we can just talk.
All right. Well, there's a couple things I want to touch on while y'all are here, but let's call it we'll try to power through them in just a few minutes each. One is I wanted to talk about Parkland. So the Parkland shooter was sentenced today to like 1,900 consecutive life sentences. I shouldn't laugh. It's really not funny, but it was kind of. I don't even want to call it a sweet moment because I know the victims' families really were pushing for the death penalty and they didn't get it. But given sort of the context of the moment, okay, we're past that. He's not going to get the death penalty. We mostly know what the sentences are going to be. Let's hear them. There was a lot that happened today. I didn't see all of it. I know the victims' families were given an opportunity to speak out and address him. That led to a lot of drama. The judge did deliver the sentence. I like the way she did it. She seemed to read account for everybody involved. And he got like a whole bunch of life sentences, and then she stressed that they were to be consecutively at one after the other, right? Because a lot of times you get these cases, it's oh yeah, we're gonna give you 5 20-year sentences, but they're served concurrently, right? And then there's just one and you're out. But this was an extreme sentence, but it was very powerful to watch the family speak out. It's very triggering, so I probably won't show any of it. I definitely recommend checking the news, checking YouTube. It's all over the place. It's not going to be hard to find footage about it. But I want to talk to it from a slightly different perspective, something some people might consider even a selfish perspective. But for me, I just want everybody to reflect on their own situation. So I'm going to be reflecting on my situation, but you should reflect on your situation. And so for my situation, I want to talk about how Parkland shootings and shootings like it, mass shootings in general, are an attack on our education system. But given that these happen anywhere, and y'all out there may work anywhere, we could call it an attack on our grocery stores, an attack on our bars, an attack on our concert venues, an attack, because these things it's terrorism. It's just domestic terrorism, flat out, But it really put me in a spot because I was reflecting on that. The fact that the victim class in this really includes so many more people than just the victims themselves, their families, their friends, that direct community. It's all of us in the sense that we all now live in this perpetual terror of mass gun violence for no reason. It's no longer, I'm concerned that if I get in too much of a fight with Lena gonna grab her gun and pop off at me. No, I'm concerned that, next time I go to Meijer, I might die just because I was at Meijer at the wrong time grabbing bananas, and killed by somebody who I don't know and they didn't know me. But I did think about it for those of you that want to hear a little bit more about the way I think about it from a educational perspective. And it literally brought me to tears. Because I'm going to put two things before you that are simultaneously true and lead me to a situation of genuine terror and confusion and hostility. And the long and short of it is I don't know how I would act in this situation. I do not know how I would act in this situation. Because there are two things that are simultaneously true. Number one is I don't want to die for my job or my students. Love my students to death. Don't want to die for none of them. Number two, I don't think I could let somebody come into class and shoot up my students. So when the rubber meets the road, one of them things got to go. And I don't have the luxury of hearing about something like the Parkland or any other shooting and just going, well, it's not going to happen to me. Because it very well could happen to me. Some of y'all know there was a shooting at a church recently in Iowa, Cornerstone Church. That is the sister and mother church of the church I play drums at. It was literally the college night worship service of that university's college ministry on Thursday night. Same thing we do here when I was part of the college ministry. So literally had that same shooting popped off at Michigan State instead of Iowa State or whatever, would have been my black ass on drums that night. Like, somebody done shot at my fucking church today. I'm a fucking atheist about to die for Jesus for real, for real. Like, come on, y'all, this is just fucking craziness. And it's like, when you're in the university, we have active shooter training, which is when they bring us in the classroom and they're like, yeah, now here's what you're supposed to do if you get word that there's an active shooter, and here's what to do if you think somebody in your classroom might become an active shooter. Here's how to barricade the room and what to tell your students to do, and here's all the things you need to be taking note of in the room. Here's how you contact the police immediately. Here's how not. Y'all, this shit is so serious to me. I thought of an app for Michigan State. Like, I haven't, like, literally, I talked to Lee. I was like, look, because I was like, we need to come up with a red button app, right? There needs to be like an app that every teacher has, because if I suspect something from a student or somebody comes through or something happens, I ain't gonna have time to pick up, dial no number. First of all, I ain't gonna be able to think straight, do Google, punch in security, 911 takes a minute, right? It should just be a red button on my phone. I open that app, I press that red button, y'all already GPS my phone and y'all on the way, right? But again, why am I putting my programming brain to work on how to not let my students get shot up in a school? But literally, this is what our lives are going to become, y'all. You're going to go to your job at the grocery store, your job at, the pet store or whatever. And here's what to do if somebody comes up and starts shooting up the pet store. Somebody comes to start shooting up the pet store, don't go diving in front of puppies and kittens and snakes, because right? Because that's what they're going to be telling you. The priority of life is take care of yourself and your human coworkers before you worry about the parakeets, right? And you're going to be like, wait, now a shooter comes in, I'm supposed to not let that dog I take care of every day get shot. Do you see what I'm saying, James? Like, this is terrifying.
Sure. I mean, if you're in a school, the answers are easy. They all just tell you, like, look, grab the nearest bulletproof Hello Kitty backpack and just throw that bitch out, and you're good. Yeah. If you have to see a kindergartner, then you just do. I mean, that's the survival of the fittest right there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, y'all, UC Left said the Republican solution is a handgun under the teacher's desk, which, trust me, is not a solution. Because let me tell you, in all 10 years I was in grad school, really was like 8 or whatever, but all of that near decade I was in grad, I told you, I was 3 eternities, okay? We ain't do no target practice, no drawing techniques, no weapon safety, no how to load and reload, no tactical shooting, none of that. Yeah, I got a dual PhD, ain't cover none of that, James. So handgun under the teacher's desk is in no way, shape, or form the solution. And anybody who tells you that doesn't care about solving this problem at all.
Right, they don't care.
Just don't care.
Nope. I mean, and you know what happens when you call the cops anyways? The cops get there, and they just, like, stand outside.
Yeah, and they just gonna stand outside and eat donuts and strategize. All right, cool.
Who wants to go in there and be the first guy in the room to shoot the bad guy? They'd be like, not me. I'm just wait out here. Let somebody else do it. You know, cops.
James, I never heard the number, but they said it was like 400 cops at that one school. Not this is not Parkland, but the Uvalde or whatever.
Right, standing outside like, who's gonna go in? Not
Hundreds.
Me. I bet that door's locked. Let's not even bother. How do you know the door's locked? Maybe we can get in. I don't know. I thought doors locked these days. I'm just not even gonna go in and check. They just didn't go in. They didn't want to. They're all afraid.
Oh, Lena shared a link to an app that automatically uploads footage. Yeah, y'all. hey, you got to protect yourself from the police, man. It's what it is out here. And at the same time, when shit hits the fan, you got to call them and hope they show up and do the right thing. I mean, it's, again, both these things is true. I'm trying to handle it myself, and I'm calling 911 as I'm trying to handle it. You know, that's just how that's just how most of us get down. You know, you got a plan A and a plan B, and whatever else happens.
Plan A is online schooling. That's what plan A is.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, don't go outside.
I'm a lot less worried about it teaching remotely, right? I didn't have to do online active shooter training. I'll put it that way. So
on a quick side note, just about the app. Also, I just recommend people get a dash cam if you drive. From
yes. Also, let's talk about the dash cam. In particular, body cams, other stuff like that. You can't reach. You know, I heard Heathen Queen. That's a good segue, Lena, because I want to mention the Heathen Queen stream. Also, shout out to Heathen Queen because she's somebody that's trying to collaborate with us. Also, Dave mentioned earlier, Paula G is probably trying to do more stuff. I would love to be on Paula G or work with Paula G. I'm a big fan, obviously. You know,
we gotta go bug Uncle Bobby about that.
No, I think Paula G kind of knows we're out here. We haven't been out here as long as Uncle Bobby, and you got to remember, Uncle Bobby himself was, you know, a lot more established than we are, or whatever. But I think Paula G knows we're out because I know he left comments on Ken Hovind's 300 debate, right? But at the same time, it's a weird thing because he's like a Robert Beatty. I don't know if they're friends or just they work together on their anti-Hovind stuff, but you know, Robert Beatty is in my no-fly zone. So it's whatever. But yeah, so Heathen Queen spoke about basically the privilege of being a white female in a world that validates white females at least more than a lot of other identities, which is how she said it, which I think is fair. And you know, that's what I was getting at about the dash cam. As a black man, people are like, "Well, I got a phone and I got a camera on my phone in my pocket." And I'm like, "Yeah, you assume that when a cop pulls you over, reaching, hey, officer, I just want to film this interaction. I'm gonna grab my phone." Yeah, if you white, maybe. If you black, you really might want that camera. Not even want. You need that camera to have been on the dash already recording. That way when this interaction goes down, you ain't reach for shit, you ain't move, you ain't do nothing, because y'all already know you can't be, if you black, you can't be reaching for shit, especially not saying, I'm gonna reach for a camera so I can film you. Yeah, that might. I was asking. Oh shit. He's
If you're black, you can't even reach for your ID.
You can't.
Even if they ask for your ID, you cannot reach for it.
No,
they go shoot you if you do, and shoot you if you don't.
Your mother tells you, Jay, if they tell you to ask, you say, and now I'm going to reach for my ID with my right hand. You know, no, literally, but for the most part,
you guys seen those clips where they tell you two contradictory commands at the same time?
Oh, they haven't pulled that on me, but they've been close.
Have you seen those? Have you seen clips of that?
No.
I'm pretty sure they're real.
I'm positive. Yeah, I've literally had police just put my life in all types of jeopardy for no reason. All right, so here's another thing that came up in that Heathen Queen video that I want to speak to. And I'm not going to say it's a problem. I'm not going to say what this thing was bad. What I want to say is I want to reflect on things like this. So they're having a conversation about the unhoused. And they were discussing language. And one of the talking points was that they prefer like a term like people experiencing homelessness, you know, because that's supposed to be person first, right? It's a person first, and they're experiencing a thing that's transient. It's not their identity, right? They're a person who is, you know, having a bout of an unhoused period in their life, rather than defining them as a homeless person. Cool. Okay. and then they like the term unhoused because, you know, maybe it makes us think that housing is a right, and also rhetorically they like it because this guy, the guest, likes it. The guest said he likes it because rhetorically it doesn't carry sort of the baggage and the narratives of the word homeless and stuff. Okay. I'm with all of that. Okay, and I think language is important, and it's critical to think about language. But I want to make sure when we do these things, we don't confuse changing the conversation for changing the issue. Because then what happens, I'm concerned about. Again, I'm with talking about things better. I'm with destigmatizing phenomena. I'm with changing the way we do discuss things when it's appropriate, right? But we do this quickly now. And we're doing it ever quicker and quicker in ways that are ever and ever less critical to me. And what I don't want people to do is find yourself in a situation, for instance, where someone is trying to be an ally on this issue and really do something for people who have a housing issue and go at them, undermine their efforts, bark them down because they're not using the hip term, right?
Right.
Nope. Well, I don't care if you're donating $5 million. You said homeless. And also, you're just throwing money at the problem, right? Like,
right.
Right? Like, oh, not now, Susie. Right? Like,
Right.
And then on the flip side, we're happy to heap esteem upon the people who want to talk about it in a new, enlightened way, but ain't really doing a goddamn thing for anybody. And by the way, the guest that she had on her show is not guilty of that. He's not guilty of that. They did an awesome interview. I agree with literally pretty much everything both of them said the entire time. It just made me think of so many issues where this is happening, right? I got, people who are trying to do things for people of color, LGBT people, and they're scared shit they're going to misgender somebody and lose their job or be canceled. And I'm not talking about right-wing nut jobs. I'm talking about, again, motherfuckers who are actually trying to help, right? Like, we gotta move in a new way with each other, right? And also acknowledge that it takes time to talk about things in new ways, and sometimes talking about it in a new way is just not the most important thing right now. And I'm not saying at all that these people had this out of whack or confused. It just made me think maybe if I bring this up, we could add something to that conversation by making sure we're sharp on the focus, right? And not losing focus in the who's saying what to who.
Right.
What are your thoughts about that? Because I know you talk about when we go a little bit too far with the
linguistic safety zones.
Yeah, whatever it might be. Yeah, that, and also the social justice. We do want to do social justice, but we don't want to alienate in the process, right?
Yeah, I don't tend to. It's weird because I share the views of most of social justice warriors in general, but I think that they go to such extremes in their pursuit of social justice that they work against their own interests. And I got to tell you, in the meantime, like, I don't even like being around them people. Like, I just don't. Like, I'd rather hang out with a conservative than a social justice warrior, even though I'm going to vote the same way the social justice warriors are going to vote at the polls. I don't want to hang out with them. I just want to vote with them. So,
because there's just a certain off-putting nature to the inner dialogue or whatever.
Well, the far left has become ironically fascist, and I don't normally use that word for them, but it has. Like, they want to shut down all discussion that they don't approve of, and not just like from politicians and public speakers, but also from each other. right? And this is what Sam Harris said. He's right about this. The left eats itself in a way that the right doesn't. We are, it's this whole, you got to be exactly on script. Exactly, you have to use exactly the right language and have exactly the approved opinions. And if you stray even a little bit, you're an enemy, and we got to do something about you, right? And that level of polemic.
We've seen this in our own community where 3 or 4 of us will basically be on the same side of a debate. We'll take 3 or 4 different tactics, and every single one of us will be shouted down from the rooftops because we didn't do it right. Right? So nobody likes my approach. They ain't like Jason Torrens' approach. They ain't like Atheist Jr.'s approach. They like none of it. They were like Matt Dillahunty's approach. All right, Rob, can't nobody do it right. And the other side is behind whoever happens to be on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I was just trying to big up your point. Yeah.
Oh, I'm 100% with you on that. So, I had that problem even in person when I used to hang out with local atheists, which were, left-leaning political people, and it shouldn't have been, right? Like, it shouldn't have been that specific. It's an atheist group. There are some centrist and conservative atheists. I would have thought they'd make room for those guys too, but they didn't. But then I'm like, well, at least I'm safe because I lean left on all this shit. But then, I still ended up pissing them off because I didn't agree with everything that they said. And I didn't use exactly the right language when I did agree. And they didn't want no part of that. And I'm like, it's just, I just think it's an American.
And is that a polemic issue in the left? Because I'm curious, like, which.
What
do you mean by polemic?
They're us versus them is a polemic, right? And when the them that they're against isn't just people who hold opposite views, but the them that they're against are also people that share their same views, but don't share it correctly. You're not using the right words, or your way of thinking about it's a little bit different, or whatever. And they're like, no, you have to have all of our same views, not just most of them, and you have to use the right language and the right way of looking at it. And if you don't, you're one of the bad guys. You're one of the enemies, and you just outed yourself. Now we got to destroy you and got to cancel you, right?
Now, is that in regards to things like LGBT, discussions?
Yeah, sure.
What else are you thinking of?
I mean, it could be anything. I think there's a lot of issues.
Anything. Really, anything. So,
And do you see that as a problem with? Because most of the media is controlled by the right, and so I'm just. What examples can you give me of big leftists that you see that are guilty of?
I don't feel like it's a big left problem. To me, it's a culture issue. Because when I experience it, I'm thinking of more from my experience as a content creator. It's more like a thing I see in our YouTube chats so I'm not worried about, so much, because I actually don't necessarily feel like it's as big of a problem in our media. If I watch David Pakman, I don't feel like he's on some. Matter of fact, I think he gets criticized because he's not in the community's left dialogue enough, right? Because almost what James is talking about. And TYT isn't liberal enough. and all this stuff. Because nobody sticks to the script all the way through. And then it's like, well, you might as well be a Republican at that point to a lot of people. And so that's what's weird. But I see that in the community. I see it with, it's just a lot of different things. But I do think that's a great question. But I guess my thing is I don't see it as much of I don't see the left doing that through the mainstream media. And I guess maybe part of that is we just don't control mainstream media like that. But I don't, that's what not what I'm
Here's my
seeing.
thing. I just see a lot of people making that accusation. And I hear a lot of right-wingers making that accusation. So it's curious to me hearing it from a person who does lean left. I want to flesh out
you can pick any issue at all. You can pick any issue at all, like the Black Lives Matter thing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, just to pick one at random. So everybody on the left who agrees that racism is a thing, it's systemic, it's serious. There's an awful lot of racist cops and racist judges and racist laws and all kinds of injustices in the system, and we haven't fixed it yet, and all that stuff. So we all agree on that shit. It's a big deal, right? So at the same time, it's like, what if you have a different view on affirmative action, right? And so, like, whatever the dominant view is at the time about affirmative action, even if you're anti-racist, if you don't have share the dominant view on affirmative action at the time, you're one of the bad guys. Or what if, in a context more specifically to Black Lives Matter, let me think. I'm trying to remember some recent things that I'd seen about.
You didn't support defunding the police,
right? You don't defund, right? Yeah. So if you don't want to say defund the police because you don't believe that that's a good idea, or because you think the wording is reckless, you're a bad guy, right? Like you're one of those people who don't want to defund the police. So,
and what does that look like, being made a bad guy? Like what's the
so if you're what's
the oppression that comes from that?
So if you're in a social group, whether it's an in-person physical group or whether it's an online group, like a discussion group, and you say something contrary to what the narrative is supposed to be, like defund the police, you're like, yeah, I don't even think that's a good choice of words. Like we shouldn't even be saying that as a slogan. Like that's just reckless. It contains the wrong idea. Well, if the popular idea at the time is defund the police, well, now you're a bad guy, and people will just let loose on you. Or even the feminist issue. I was in a group one time, and we were talking about feminism. I support feminism as an idea, but I don't support the social political movement. And so when I explained that I prefer the word egalitarian over feminist, because the word feminist has taken on this hyper extreme political movement ideology attitude to it, packed with all this stuff, this toxic third wave feminist stuff. And then what will happen is, and I've had this happen more than once, the feminists in the room get extremely angry with me. And I mean to the point where if they were there in person, they'd be trying to claw my eyes out. Like, I kid you not, they are pissed. And they'll say things like, we don't even want you on our side. We don't even, if you can't wear the label feminist with pride, then we don't even want you talking about how you support women's equality. We don't even want to hear you say that out of your stupid mouth. That's what they'll tell me.
I was literally thinking that too, that because as soon as you started telling this story, I said, yep, I've seen this happen. And they will completely overlook the fact that you fight for and support women's equality, which is supposed to be the issue, right? So they'll just, at that point, you haven't said it in the right way. You know, I've had this happen. And I think it's tougher even maybe to recognize. To me, it feels like sometimes, I hate to say this is part of the strength of the right, is that it became more graceful. At least they had this bullshit-ass Jesus narrative where they were supposed to say, all right, you screwed up, you know, say 3 Hail Marys, remind everybody that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and then all of a sudden everybody has to give you a second chance. And if they don't, that's on them. But on the left, we never came up with the 3 Hail Marys. We never, I feel particularly strong about this, but I feel like I'm biased. I'm a criminal psychopath, right? I've been involuntarily committed and locked the fuck up. So I'm the type of person who can't afford for this type of severe, behavioral, conformity, right? Because I was outside of that. But yeah, it's and again, I don't want to make it sound like we're worse than the right or whatever, but it's something I think we can afford less, right? I'm just very realistic about leverage in the world, and
I just don't see there being as many social losses and consequences of disagreements within leftist spheres as opposed to...
I mean, I got black...
No, I'm not saying it's not there. Obviously, we can call out our own problems. I see that as being so much more of an issue on the right, and when it comes to right issues, where parents will literally disown children, right, for their sexual orientation or what have you.
Well, like Jay said, we're not trying to say that we're as bad as the right about this. We're not. We're just saying it's a problem. But when it comes to the left, the way the left eats its own and the way that the right doesn't, what Sam Harris was talking about, he's talking about cancel culture. He's talking about the extremists of, if you say one thing we don't agree with, we got to take away your humanitarian award and that you earned like 30 years ago, and now we have to deplatform.
Yeah. Honestly, I actually think the consequences of this are huge. I think part of us not having as much of control over the mainstream narrative is that this aspect of our issue doesn't get brought out, especially because it's not to the benefit of those in our camp who have a voice. But yes, this is absolutely that type of issue, and to keep the problem simple is an interference to our ability to organize, because again, everything is like herding cats, fucking everything, Even like the midterm elections, we gotta work hard, because they're gonna bring their people out. It's our people who are sitting around, well, I don't even want to vote. Well, they ain't left enough. Look, can we just all agree we can't have Republicans right now? So we just need everybody, if you can. I know some of you can't, but if you can, please vote and vote Democrat. Well, again, it's like having to go through this much more effort just to convince people. We live in a 2-option system right now. I understand it should be, could be, would be different, better, all of that. That ain't today. Today is vote blue or die, more or less. And people still are so they can't get with it. That's the problem. Because that's the consequence. Their side is they gonna do it. Look, and here's the difference it makes. Herschel Walker right now is getting thrown under the bus, right? Everything is coming up bad about this guy. He's a liar. He threatened people. He's a carpetbagger. Everything that is supposed to disqualify you is happening to this man. They don't care. Why? Rallied, united, like a fist. One cause. Keep the Senate seat in Georgia red.
Yeah.
Right? That's the difference.
That I all agree with. Yeah, and the left is typically less conformist. Like, the right gets in line. That's part of the authoritarianism. That's part of the fascism.
And I think you got to get
I guess maybe that's a
that,
symptom that you're pointing out with cancel culture. Is like it's a symptom of that lack of unity and cohesion as like a unified front against the right. That like plays into this sort of toxic.
I mean, even
not good enough culture you're describing.
Yeah, even to call out stuff in our own community, like. It does bother me at some level that I had to work, quote unquote, creative to try to compensate for the fact that people thought somehow me watching Kent Hovind bully somebody, call him out, pay money to call him out, pay my own money to call him out, then debate him, somehow landed on people as we're buddies. Then little shit like I would be trying to like maybe watch a video of somebody I don't like, right? With the idea of I might debate this person or have some other type of hostile interaction or call this person out, right? And all of a sudden, people will literally be coming at me like, well, I don't know if you knew, but this person did this, that, and the third. And if you even put their stuff on your stream, then you're platforming them and supporting their and I can't tell you. So literally, I can't be like, I hate this motherfucker, and I think he's fucking awful. This is a terrible ass motherfucker, and I want to watch this motherfucker so I could show you how fucking terrible this piece of shit is. People will literally be like, oh fuck, hang on one sec, y'all. I have to oh my goodness, the thing fucked up and now I block stream. I'll take care of it in a second. But it's crazy when that type of shit happens, because that's what we're talking about. You're eating yourself. You maybe you don't, just don't watch that stream, or maybe you disagree with our tact, or you take a different approach of it. But again, to go from I support this person, they're on our side, they're about what I'm about, and they're calling out this motherfucker I think is terrible. Hey, at least they're calling him out. Like, none of that. It's just straight, you put them on your screen. I don't like them. I don't like anybody putting them on the screen. So And again, it hasn't been one incident. It hasn't been one issue, right? It's been a whole bunch of cast of characters that this has happened to me on both sides now for a whole range of stuff that, again, people in the atheist community just herding cats.
Right.
Yeah. No, this is going to point out, it's the polarization effect to some degree. Just the polarization of politics in our nation recently has become so extreme that I think that's part of that. It's a symptom of that. Go ahead, James.
So yeah, I mean, I've had people tell me, don't ever let such and such on your streams, or else we won't go there anymore, and we won't ever like recommend you to anybody either. Like we just never put that person on your stream. Like Godless Girl, there are some people like Titan Uranus. Like if he sees that I ever let Godless Girl on my streams, not only will he never touch my streams, he won't mention me ever again. Like he won't. And that's already happened, right? Like he's just like, it's just one of those people where I like Titan Uranus. He's part of the community. I respect him as a person, but it's just one of those things.
And we should all be on the same side.
We should all be on the same side, and we're not. So it's like, she used to really piss people off. I get that, but she's trying to change her ways. Is she going to succeed? I have no idea. But she made it known. She's rebooting her channel. She's rebooting her personality. She's trying to like treat people better. She feels bad she treated them that way before. She's making a big life change, and it's because she, it was affecting her real relationship. She realized it was being consequential, to be a dick to everybody, and now she don't want to be no more. And I'm like, all right, well, you can be here and talk about shit as long as you're not being a dick to people, right? And I'm just that way. Like, anybody can be as long as they behave well. And on the stream, like, I don't care what they do in their free time. If they're an axe murderer, yes, I care about that separately, but that's between them and the cops. Like, it's just, I just feel like everybody's got a list of people that their hit list. If you ever have this person on your channel, or if you ever talk about this person or promote them in any way, then we'll have nothing to do with you, and we're going to tell everybody else they shouldn't have nothing to do with you either. And it's like, I don't want to get caught up in all that politics.
Yeah, and then James, it's weird too because they seem to exclude the industry. Like, I like Paul Gia. We're all Paul Gia fans, right? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't know Paul G if he wasn't making fun of scumbags.
Nope.
So they get big off of talking about stuff. Or there's people like Atheist Jr., 70-80% of his content's about Ken Hovind, right?
Right.
And then it's like, you touch it. Oh, no, you can't touch it. Right? So you don't even know who's on the approved list versus the unapproved list. So wait, some people can oppose these people, but not other people. So, some people can be all up in their business all day, every day, telling you everything they do, and that's cool, but I'm not allowed to. It's just weird. Weird.
I agree 100%. Like, they can still talk about Darth Dawkins, they can have him on their streams, they can argue with him, and that's fine. But how is he worse than Godless Girl? Like, and maybe there's something I don't know because I wasn't always there, because I can't be there all the time, right? I'm not omnipresent, right? And I've never been omnipresent, so maybe something particularly bad happened one time on something. Right. I don't know nothing.
Yeah, so, and I've changed my opinion about certain content creators because I found out certain things about them. Mm-hmm. Now, number one, to be honest with people, I prefer to find that stuff out off stream. You should really, people don't have good stream etiquette. And the first thing that makes me think of is they just don't ever think about the fact that the streamer's a real human being. It's like an issue I even have with my club. Like, you could disagree with somebody, but chewing a person out while they're live is rude. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm just going to be honest with you, right? And to interrupt somebody's whole show and workflow by dropping a bomb on them and then basically hostily taking over their show and demanding they then do what you want them to do right now, or, you weaponizing your whatever against them. Like, I won't support you and I'll tell everybody you're a supporter. How is this not considered like actively hostile, antisocial behavior yet? I don't understand. Like, cause I'm just like, anybody teach y'all manners? You know what I mean? Because there's a certain thing. Hey, you can send me an email. I'm Pocket Locker 86 everywhere you can literally think of, including FetLife. So, it's pretty easy to pull me. Hey, Pocket Lock, I noticed you put so and so. I didn't know if you knew about. Just a heads up. You know what I mean? Right. So
and that's a broader internet issue.
Yeah, it totally is. But it's just we should still remember that on the other side of every internet connection is another human being. They don't. The internet doesn't connect. Like I said, it don't connect to Myron Bot. Sam don't have an internet connection. I still haven't met a parakeet that could type. So on the other side of every internet connection is a human being. You should even remember that. Yeah, you should even. Oh, the bots do be out here. I should have corrected myself. But even like programs, right? Like something that's really interesting. Like I teach Avita Ed, right? For most people, Avita Ed is like a piece of software. You just plug it in, you use it. You might hate it. It might have bugs. It might do some shit. You might think it's wonderful. You might be Sal and try to make, content on debunking it. But to me, it's a team of people. I know every single one of them. It's a very small team of people, right? I know who made those mistakes. I know why those bugs are there. A lot of times it's just the limitations of the limited resources the team has to work with at the current moment. You see what I'm saying? Or we're working on it type of shit. But people don't know that. But so they forget that even all of these tools around you, people made it, right? And it helps to go a long way in life. To even in my interactions with the dispensary, I think one of the reasons they like me is I made it very clear, bro, I'm not here to hold up your business. I never meant to put your employees in a bad situation. I know they're just doing their job. I'm not here to make anybody uncomfortable. Hey, if you need me to come in the store, just tell me. I'm just trying to be as safe as I can, right? So we're trying to meet each other, and that recognition is what makes the difference because I'm recognizing they're not being antagonistic to me. They're not. There isn't a. If Jay Bundy shows up, please do screw him over, hanging on the wall, right? And I'm not. I'm nobody other than somebody who spends lots of money here all the time, right? I show up and walk out with literally just under as much weed as legally possible every single time I show up. So they know that as well, right? So we can work together. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. All right, so here's another thing. All right, so we talked about the midterms. We talked about Parkland. What else did I put in this damn title? I don't even know. We talked about that. I think I'm good.
James, we should have a conversation about feminism. That should be or the sorts of hyper. I think did you do one on that already? On the sort of hyper extreme feminism that you're
I haven't.
opposed to.
I can if I want to piss off some more leftists. I can do that stream.
I'd be entertained by that.
Fun. All right, we can do that.
So I'm actually gonna end the stream soon, but James, I thought about something that I wanted to mention to you. Mm-hmm. We should just schedule the dating and relationship show and just start doing it as two dudes, and we're gonna talk about everything. And if there's let's say non-male people have a problem with two dudes hosting a show about dating and relationships, then they should show the fuck up and co-host it with us. Until then, James, we got this. Let's go. I changed my mind. Because look, that's what they're going to do. They're going to tap dance. We out here, man. So look, if we get out here and we start doing it, they'll be like, well, I got something to say. Well, you guys should have more. Bring it. Right?
Right.
We might have to ruffle some feathers. We might have to get somebody to hate co-host with us. I'm sick of you two talking about the female perspective and not having a goddamn clue what you're talking about. Good, finally.
You know, that's if they get caught man to like that, I'd be like, shouldn't you be making me a sandwich? I'm just saying.
Now, see, you don't understand. We really, you were just saying that's what they talk about. They talk about, walk away, take a time out, take a deep breath, relax. You might be a little hangry. You sound like you need a Snickers. That's all he's really trying to say. Bioregulation. Oh man, that's funny. Carrie Ann said, I will watch Two Single Men. Carrie Ann, it's not that type of dating show, Karen. Karen, it's not Chippendale. It's just Jay and James,
I feel like Damon Wayans, and who was the other guy that oh dang it, where they would like have men on film, where they do reviews. Was it from In Living Color? I think. You know who I'm talking about.
Well, tell me, what did they do again?
From In Living Color, it's a skit. Like they'd have two men, but they were gay men in the skit though, and they would like be reviewing football players and stuff like that.
Oh, that's funny. No,
yeah, it's hilarious.
I do know they all. It's so funny when I look back at those shows because it's like all the big comedy stars, and they all love doing gay shit. All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was like they just loved it, which I think is quite natural because it's an obvious sort of other identity to be curious about and to want to take on. Just like cross dressing or something, right? It's like right there all the time.
Sure.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean,
still taboo. It's still funny. You know?
Yeah. Or you know, pretending to be rich or any of that stuff, right? It's just kind of right. It's obvious,
right?
For the imagination to run with. All right, look, y'all, we got to try to start this whole World Series thing. I guess I'll probably just change the stream title or something so it looks like I cared about what it's called. Or maybe I should just do that real quick, so I don't have to do it later. But yeah, Lena, James, do y'all have anything else for the people? Because then we're gonna go to gather and watch baseball, and I'm sure all the sports ball fans will be repelled.
Yeah, I'm not really. I like playing sports, but I don't like watching them. So if you guys like want to watch cheerleaders, if somebody can create an all cheerleader sport, I'll like watch that.
James, there is this sport. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called cheerleading, and it turns out it's all cheerleaders all the time.
Oh.
They even have these other things called. No, never mind. All right, James, I'll teach you one thing. Don't confuse cheer and dance. Because if you're dating somebody who's very heavily involved in one or the other, which is because they're a coach or something, not because they're underage. Don't get them confused. Don't get them confused. That will get things thrown at you. But there's other. What would you class this as? Rhythmic, competitive ways to watch hot chicks do routines competitively on behalf of their schools. Yes, that's yeah, it's the way to go.
Cheers a lot like floor, right, in gymnastics. But you're also
cheers up, right? Cheers where you're gonna do pyramids and stunts.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and so dance is on the floor, and then palms.
Well, but dancers usually don't do backflips and like I was thinking about the running. Twist or whatever.
right, yeah. And so dance is more choreographed stuff, and then there's palms where they're gonna actually have the pom-poms, but don't call them cheerleaders either. I used to date a dance team coach, so made all of these faux pas.
Well, hey, I was just gonna say,
narrowly escaped being a dance team dad, y'all. Yeah. Go ahead, Lena.
That seems like fun. I was just gonna say I'm thinking about getting a Twitter. So if anyone, no, not Twitter. TikTok.
The TikTok. Let's get out of here on Twitter. Did y'all know that somebody used like Trump is dead or something to troll Elon Musk to see if he would actually moderate Twitter, and I don't think people are very optimistic that he will. Do y'all have any thoughts about Elon Musk, the new owner of Twitter?
I know that Twitter's just going downhill. It's becoming even worse. Of course it is, right? Like more racist and more crazy conspiracy theorist, and he's not doing our society any good. That's for God.
He's literally been the source of conspiracy theories since he bought Twitter. It seems like he maybe bought Twitter to be, to have his own play space, and I just don't think he's a serious person.
He wants to be an edgelord, a meme. He likes the memes. He wants to be, funny and popular.
Yeah.
So,
Elon, AR said Elon's a snake oil salesman in his opinion. I think he's definitely got his intelligence to him, and he's appealed to a lot of people. He's got certain personality traits that are good for business, but I'm not a fan, personally. And yeah, I just take a lot of people on balance, and I could say I'm a fan of some things you've done, but not really a fan of you overall. Not gonna lie.
But that's how I feel about Jesus.
Yeah, definitely how I feel about Jesus. Except his list of things I'm a fan of is getting shorter because his followers are so irritating. I'm sorry, Jesus, but it's time to shoot the messengers.
Right.
When it comes to him buying Twitter, it's a loss for free speech. That's for sure.
So I got in a religious discussion with my sister the other day, and she's being a good sport about it. But I'm like, I guess I told her, I said, if I had to narrow it down, the problem with Christianity is everything. You guys are in a competition with the Muslims to see who can be the most wrong anyone ever was, and I'm not even sure who's winning.
It's kind of true, and it's kind of a done deal for me, and I don't think it's a thing an honest person can do anymore. So if you just want to go ahead along with it, fine, but that's all it is to me at this point. All right, y'all, look, we're going to get out of here. World Series Game 4. I'm already in the Pinochle Lounge. Come join me. After that, we're going to watch Cheers. Then we're going to watch movies. People are going to be gaming and streaming and having a good time in here. Appreciate everybody for joining me. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, family, and others. And if you feel so inclined, there are donation links in the description. In the name of Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopher Hitchens.